excited to see you right now.
I'm so excited to see you. I feel like I look like a bit of a garbage bag because I'm not allowed to put on makeup before going to set. So I'm,
You look like a magical fairy princess.
thank
So
you. I have so much moisturizer on that my skin is like you can like see the windows of my hotel room in my forehead.
I like
Anyway,
it. I think it's a look.
going with it. Here we are.
I'm so excited that you're here. I wanted you for my launch episode so badly. So I like held out on everything else and I was like, no, it's gonna be Brittany.
Oh my God.
I so we met at Rama Drama.
Yes,
And but we had had a brief Facebook encounter
you did.
before that. And then it was like we were best friends the moment we saw each other at Rama
I
Drama.
know. Well, I felt like such a creeper because I like fully walked up to you and was like, "Hi, how are you?" Like I'd met you 800 times.
It was an extremely grateful moment for me. I was like, I think I talked about it nonstop for the rest of the weekend. I was like, Brittany came up to me. Like I was, but have you? That was your first Rama Drama, right?
Second one.
Second one.
Yeah.
What
So it was
did you
at the one
prefer
in
one over the other?
honestly, the one in West Palm Beach was just like an entirely different world to the one from Nashville. I think because the Nashville one was like the first one, it was the first foray, like no one really knew what to expect. And Gabrielle and Sarah did an incredible job, but it was just like the West Palm Beach one was just like a whole nother level. Like it just grew leaps and bounds in the time in between. And it was like, I don't know, it was pretty cool. I had a really fun time. I'm
Yeah, it
already
was.
looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, they've already like sent out messages being like, where should we do it next? And everyone's
I
like
know.
on it and ready for it.
Yeah.
Um, what was your most memorable moment from the weekend, do you think? Or something that just like stood out for you?
Gosh, there's so many. I mean, honestly, meeting you was one of them. I'm not
Oh,
even gonna lie. Um, because I feel like it's really interesting, especially I feel like it's so beautiful that you've shared so much about your own story, like socially, and you're talking so openly about the struggles that you've been through. And knowing that you were there and that you traveled to West Palm Beach because you wanted an opportunity to interact with people that you felt had been a part of your healing journey and your all of those things, like those kinds of interactions mean so much. And like that's largely why I do what I do. I want to make a difference in people's lives. It's not just about like, I don't know, like I love what I do. I feel so grateful that I get to spend my life on set like feeling fancy, but at the same time, like for me, I did it because I was bullied and I remember watching movies and like that was my escape. And so for me, I've always said like if with getting into acting, my main thing was yes, I love it, but secondly, if I can provide that escape for someone else, that means I've done everything I ever set out to do. And so having an opportunity, especially when people express, it's not just that they've had a tough time or, these movies make them happy, but they've actually helped them through something or helped them navigate something. That always really stays with me. Um, so yeah, I'd say like there were a couple of people too who came up to me and, we had some really special conversations about what they were going through in their life. Or there was one woman who told me that like my movies specifically helped her get through losing her husband after
oh,
like 60 years of marriage. And I was just like,
oh my God.
what? I don't know how I had any part in that, but I'm grateful that like I gave you a sliver of like laughter and joy for an hour and a half of your day. And so yeah, those are always the most memorable things for me. Um, Knowing that I've had a chance to impact somebody, especially somebody who's going through something specifically difficult, is, it's a huge honor for me.
I think that's just so beautiful. You told that story at Rama Drama too, at one of the panels, and it just sat with me, I think, the rest of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people can relate to that and being bullied and how it makes an impact on your life. And it's true what people have said, that those movies are so feel good,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you just know that no matter whenever you watch one, you're going to get a great story out of it and happy people and just a wonderful cast all the time, and they were my go-to during like my cancer treatment, and then I had just so many other personal things. And when it's like those times that I would lock myself in my room, that's
The
that's
only
what
thing
kept
that
me company. It was these movies, and it's just so many people are like, Hallmark movies, they're so cheesy, or that style of movie, and I'm just like, well,
yeah.
that's, I don't really care what you have to
No,
say.
and honestly, I think at the end of the day, like the fact that they bring, like they provide hope. There's you knowing when you're watching them, you're never gonna have to worry about like seeing something that's gonna make you so upset that you're not gonna be able to
Mm-hmm.
recover. Because like, let me tell you, there are some movies out there, they do not leave you.
No.
And I know you know that, but it's kind of crazy. And then there's other ones where even it's just like if you're watching it on TV, it's like, well, what if the commercial is something that like freaks you out? Like, let's say you live alone and you don't want to watch a commercial for a horror movie at 2 a.m, but you can't sleep. Like, there's just, I don't know, there's like, it's just such a easy, happy place to be.
Yeah, and being Canadian, we don't have like the Hallmark channel, so
Yeah,
everything's on W Network.
exactly.
So we don't even always get the stuff at the same time, too. So it's like everyone could be talking about the new movie that came out, and I'm like, I didn't get to watch it because it
I
didn't launch in
know.
Canada at the same time. Which is another reason why I'm excited for the Love Club, which we'll get into. But I have a few questions for you first. Uh, so other than your like history with bullying and stuff, what drew you to acting to start with? Like what was sort of like, this is what I want to do?
I honestly like my parents, whenever they talk about me as a kid, they're like, you were such a ham. Like, we loved you, but let us tell you, you were a challenging child. Um, but no, I was always just a little ham. And I started acting when I was 6. So for me, like, it just kind of, I think I just sort of weirdly always knew it was what I wanted to do. Like, it was always a part of me. I was doing a ballet class, and I remember someone came in and said, we're doing an open casting call for a commercial. We need like a bunch of little ballerinas. So if you want to send any of the girls from the studio, like this is the date and time. And I just remember hearing that and like losing my mind. I was like, I have to go. I must be there. I have to convince my parents. And I like convinced them to take me to this audition. And it felt like there were a million people there. Of course, there were probably like 200,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it felt like a million people because I since have been back to that casting room and I'm like, it's actually not that big. There's not really space for more than 50 people in here, but it felt like there were thousands upon thousands of people. But somehow I booked that commercial, and I remember just having like the greatest day of my life on that set. Like I was taken by it. And I remember like going home, and I was really little, and I sat my parents down and I was like, I want to be an actor. So we're going to have to do that now. And they're like, okay.
Oh God. Yeah.
But I was really lucky in getting into it because the woman that had cast that commercial, her name's Gloria Mann. She's a huge commercial casting agent in Canada. Her son now runs the agency, Stephen Mann. It's called Mann Casting. And her daughter, Marla, was starting up a talent agency. Like literally, it was a brand new agency. She had no clients. She just knew she wanted to be an agent. And because Gloria had cast me in that, I guess Marla had seen me, and Marla called my parents and said, I'd like to take Brittany on as my first client. So it kind of was all kismet in that moment. And like, I know so many people have struggled so hard to get agents. And I know, like, when I say I recognize how lucky and how easy it was for me, I really, truly mean that, because I'm very lucky in that I didn't have to like bang people's doors down. I had people who wanted to support me right from the get-go. So I was incredibly lucky in that sense. But yeah, so I started with her, and then I just kind of never stopped. Like she supported me. She was amazing. She like took me to my auditions when my parents couldn't. She would like have little like Fruit Loop snack boxes in the back seat to like make sure I could like have a snack before my auditions. She was
That's
awesome. She was the
adorable.
greatest agent ever. And then she helped me transition into a bigger agency that represented more union members, because she said like I want to help you get where you want to be, but I'm still so new that like I don't know if I'm the person to do that. So she was remarkably supportive and helped me find my footing in my next agency. And then I ended up many, many years later, after like a little hiatus, where I am with my current agent. And yeah, it's just, I always wanted to do it. And I think I was very, very lucky in that I had the most remarkably supportive circle around me on all levels, like casting, my parents, my agent, like everybody was there to say, okay, you want to do this, we're going to let you do this. My parents' one rule was the minute you complain about like going to an audition, going to work, getting up early, that means to us that you don't want to do it. And that's when we stop. Because as an adult, I now recognize how much work it is and how much work it was for my parents. Like my mother was getting up with me at 4:30 in the morning to take me to auditions and to casting calls and sitting there all day. Like sitting on set and not working is the most tiring part of being an actor. And my mother had to sit there for like 8 hours a day and just like watch me walk around in a tutu and think I was a fancy movie star, just like waiting for me to be done. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much for giving up your whole entire life to get up at 4:30 in the morning. Like as an adult, if somebody asked me to do that, I'd be like,
Moms are the best.
I hate you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you.
That would be my response. So
what insecurities did you have going into like different roles as you sort of started to get older and things changed? Like, did you carry in any insecurities with you, or were you just like, no, I've got this?
I mean, I think one thing I really distinctly noticed, like personally, in terms of my own experience, was I stopped acting when I was 13. And I took 6 years off to focus on my high school training. I went to the National Ballet School and it was a really intensive program. So I gave myself over to that for 6 years. And then when I came back into the industry at 19, I think the biggest thing I noticed was the fearlessness of being a child was gone. And it was really daunting because I was suddenly like second guessing everything I was doing. And obviously I was going to classes, I was taking it very seriously. And I know that there was a break there, which could lend itself to feeling that way anyways. But the biggest thing was I remember like as a kid, if I had a chance to do something, I would just like jump up and do it. Or if somebody said like, okay, we want the character to do this goofy thing, I was like, no questions asked, blah, 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 blah. Like I'd never felt insecure about just going and doing the thing. But as an adult, I think we become so, I think there's a number of things. I think we become really body conscious. I think we become really aware of how people see us. And I think we become very aware of how we're perceived. And I know that those two sound really similar, but I think I mean them slightly differently. And so I suddenly became aware of like, well, maybe I'm not going to do it as well as that person. And then I would get scared. And then my ability to actually give myself over to something was kind of stunted. So there was that. And then of course, especially as a woman, I mean, everyone in this industry has to deal with, you know, how their body looks in front of a camera and how, you know, their face looks, and like literally you're judged based on like what your face and your body look like. And that's terrifying. And I just spent 6 years in an industry where that was also the case. Mm-hmm. So I think there was a lot of that, of like fear of not ever being able to be like a sexy leading lady. And I mean, at 19, that wasn't super my concern. I was like, oh my God, I can't play a teenager, I'm too old. But yeah, there was like a lot of fear around that. And then I've also been somebody who's never really wanted to dive into, like, for example, Degrassi was like a huge show.
I did extra work on Degrassi for like years.
So I remember very distinctly, it was one of my last auditions before I left the industry for 6 years. I auditioned for one of the lead roles of Degrassi. I didn't get it, obviously, but I auditioned for it. And I remember thinking to myself, like, this is where roles are changing a bit. You know, I'm in a position where now suddenly I'm being asked to cut my hair. I'm being asked to like kiss boys on camera. I'm being asked to do all these things. And it suddenly made me like really anxious. Mm-hmm. The idea of having to like perform these things that were so outside of who I was at that age. And I think that sort of stayed with me as I got older. Like I don't really have any fear of doing any roles specifically, but I think as I've matured into myself and now as I've sort of been able to figure out why I felt that way, I've discovered that I have to be picky about those things. And like if there's a role that I am going to look at, I want to be very specific about the intention behind it. So I think I'm constantly dealing with insecurities and I've been navigating them forever, but I think I'm more secure in my ability to make my decisions for myself. And I'm trying every time I get a new role to like give myself over to like the little kid version of that person so that I can sort of feel that fearlessness again. And I've realized that the longer I've been in this industry, the more you tune into that like little kid energy that we all have, when you give yourself over to being that fearless, fun little kid, the more fun you have, the better you can perform and the better people respond to you on set. So yeah, that's the long, I'm so long-winded.
I love it though, because it's like, I don't know. It's like you go into this with questions and it could just be a very like one simple answer, but it's so lovely to hear that from different people and sort of how different people take different insecurities and how they overcome those insecurities to be able to like really do what they want. I feel like that's so important. And like I was like, just talk as long as you like there's no just talk. It's
Thank God, because this girl, that's one thing that's definitely a real thing about me is I just go.
I like it though.
Talk and talk and talk.
I dig it. Um do you remember what your like worst, most horrifying audition was?
Yeah.
That was a quick yes. So
I don't even really know if I could like go back and watch every audition I've ever done, if I would like change my mind about it. But this one stayed with me. So I think for me, it's like the one that for some reason just like it will forever, in my opinion, be that one. And I think it's a really great example of how you have to be willing to face rejection in this industry, because people can be wonderful, but people can also be not very nice. Mm-hmm. I was doing an audition for, I don't even know if it was like a TV show or a movie. It was literally to play a girl who went missing and then her mom found her dead. So like, I don't even think there were lines. I think they just wanted to like see a girl and a grown up together and see if they could look like mom and dad. And then they asked us all to lay on the floor and play dead. It was very weird. But they brought us in like 6 at a time. So there were like 6 women and 6 little girls. We were all just like sitting there together. And the director, I think I was the first one in line, the first or the second one. He had us all like lie down and play dead and like sit with our moms. And he literally went down the line and he went, "You, no, I don't like you. You're not any good. You can leave." And I was like 8. And I just remember being like, "Oh, that was mean." I'll go. And I remember going out into the audition room and just being like, "He said he didn't like me and that I wasn't any good." And my mom was like, "He did what?" And I was like, "We should go home now." That was weird. But I remember distinctly being like, that was a weird experience. Like, I don't think I was even offended. I was just like, he thought I was bad. He's crazy. I'm going to go home and play with my dolls. I don't know. But like, it was a very funny one for me, but it stayed with me because I was just like, how could you, as a grown man, look at an 8-year-old and say, "You're not any good, you can go"? And I remember it like it was yesterday. Like I can still see he had these like round Jolly Rancher colored glasses. Like I can still see his face. So like I know it's not a fake memory.
But those things stick with you for sure.
Yeah, it was the weirdest. And even though like I've had auditions that I have like royally destroyed, as all of us do, anybody who says they don't is lying.
As a dancer, I feel that.
Dancer, actor, like you are going to mess up. You are going to do so bad at some point in your life. If you haven't done it yet, it's coming. But yeah, I remember like I've had so many auditions where I've walked out and just been like, "Oh my God, that was so bad. I couldn't remember my lines, or like I did it and it was just like so wrong. And the auditioner was just like, what are you doing? But you know, you're not going to get them all. I can't be right for everything.
Well, I
Right?
mean, you've been perfect for everything that I've seen you in. I remember, because I always remember you were like, for a very long time, you were like the best friend in a lot of these movies. And then I remember the moment I started seeing you pop up as a leading lady, I was like, it's about fucking time. Like, I was like,
Thank you.
I have loved you since the moment I saw you, girl. So it's such a hard girl crush. It's like you just
Sick.
the moment like before even Rama Drama, I was like, we're destined to be friends.
And here we are.
And here we are. That's right. Years later. So other than you mentioned that you studied at the National Ballet School, which is one thing I didn't know. I knew you were a dancer. Have you danced your entire life, or like what other hobbies, sports, anything else like that that you
Yeah,
were
so
into?
I was such an active little kid. I loved dance. So my parents put me into dance when I was like 3, which is not really dance, but I stayed in it, and I kept actually starting to learn to dance, and stayed with dance up until I was like 19, in a professional way. I still love to dance. I still go to ballet classes, except I'm like absolutely terrible now. I mean, I'm not terrible, but I'm not ever going to be this
You lose the technique
level
and
of
stuff
skill
over
that I was
time.
at when I graduated from the National Ballet School, because that's just insane. Like, I have a friend that just left the National Ballet as a principal dancer and is moving to Vienna because he's that amazing and he's incredible. And like, anyways, I will never be at that level ever again in my life. So I look at it and I'm like, I'm terrible. But meanwhile, I'm just fine. So I still do ballet. I love modern and contemporary. I taught at TDT as a teaching assistant for like a year, which is the Toronto Dance Theatre. It's like the premier modern dance school in Toronto, probably Canada. It's phenomenal. Other than, I think there's a Montreal school, but it's a phenomenal modern school. And I skated a lot as a kid. I was a little figure skater. I was on a synchronized figure skating team for 3 years.
That's cute.
We won a lot of medals, let me tell you. We were pretty great. Very fancy kids. Um, I look back on that with so much fondness. Such a strange time of my life. I really wanted to be like my big sister, and my big sister was a skater. So I was like, I'm gonna skate too and be good at it. And then that just took off, which was always so much fun. I loved skating. And I still like to skate whenever I get a chance to. Sports wise, not very skilled. I did try t-ball. Didn't go very good. Apparently I have a crooked arm. I didn't know that. But when I try to throw a ball, it never really goes in the right direction.
Didn't know that was a thing.
I joined an ultimate frisbee team last year, but every single one of our games got canceled because of COVID, so never did that.
That could be your secret calling that you just you didn't have the opportunity to figure out.
Yeah, it's a really cool sport. I played on a basketball team when I was like 10, and I did running high jump, which I really loved, and I was actually really good at running high jump. Track and field was my thing.
Before I started dancing, I was track and field.
Yeah.
And then it was the same. My sister started dancing and I wanted to be like her, so I started. She quit. I stuck with it.
Yeah.
So one of those, but yeah, it's the long legs. The
Yeah.
long legs.
Yeah, exactly. They have
So,
yeah.
considering Hallmark is like all romance, I want to hear a little bit about your romance. I want the like, I know you briefly told me how you met at Rama Drama, but I figured we'll share it with the world. And I also want to know about the proposal.
Okay, deal. So Dustin and I met at the gym, and we became gym buddies. We were gym friends for like a year, and then I think he actually left the gym, but I had such a big crush on him that I just kept being like, no, he's at the gym. I'm gonna message him and see if he's gonna come to the gym party. And he actually would, like, he would come by and like come to all of they would have like a summer party and a Christmas party, and he was always invited to them, so like I'd see him there. And yeah, for like 2 years we just kept having a crush on each other and like not really doing anything about it. And then I think finally I was like, so I think I was the one that actually was like, are you gonna ask me on it? Are we gonna like hang out?
I love that.
But I don't think I was as forward. I think I was like, so like hangouts are fun. Like, do you ever like do stuff? I think I was super lame about it, but I did make
Very cool and casual.
move. Um, and then the night before our first date, being the superstar clumsomatic that I am, I don't know, I just made that word up. Clumsy, I'm very clumsy. I was walking down a flight of stairs in a pair of high heels, leaving my friend's house after a lovely dinner. And I proceeded to fall down the flight of stairs. And my foot like got bent, but like the top of my foot was touching my toes and it was like stuck, and I had to like ram my toes back down to make them go the other direction. And then I went home and I got up the next morning and I was like, cool, my foot is black and blue and purple and I can't walk, so that's fun. And I went downtown, and I was living not close to downtown at all at this time, so I had to take 2 buses and a subway, and I was like hell bent on getting downtown. I wanted to hang out with him so bad. And I went to get a manicure, and I was like, oh, I'm so fancy. And turns out I was really like, I couldn't even put pressure on my foot. So I ended up having to go to the hospital. And when I got to the hospital, they were like, you need to go home, no stops in the middle, like get in a cab, go to your house and put your foot like real far up in the air and put ice on it for the next like 2 days, or you are going to not be able to walk. I was like, okay. I had to get like a bunch of x-rays. They thought my foot was broken. It was this whole thing. Anyways, I texted him telling him that I couldn't hang out because of my foot. And I didn't send any photographic evidence or anything. So it sounded just like I was kind of flaking on him. And then we didn't go out. So then 3 months later, he went to a dinner party, and a girl that I knew was at that dinner party. My name came up in conversation, and he found out that I was, in fact, not lying about my foot injury, and texted me first thing the next morning and asked me if I was available to go out on a date that night. And we've been together ever since.
I love that so much. It's like its own little Hallmark movie.
Oh, except like it's just about a clumsy girl. Like, clumsy girl.
That can be a thing.
Accidentally pushes away the man of her dreams, but he comes back.
I like it. I mean, that works for me.
Yeah, right? And then, yeah, he proposed to me 2 years to the day of our 2 years to the day of our first ever date. So 2 years to the day of that day, he texted me, asked me out. Which, like, I don't know if either of us really knew we were on a date. We just both really knew we liked each other, but like weren't sure if the other person was into it. And then we went out 3 days later and we were like, oh, yep, this is what this is. Cool. But yeah, we were at his family's cottage in Nova Scotia. It overlooks the water, the ocean, and it's beautiful. And it's where his parents fell in love, which is adorable. And he'd been carrying around the ring for like a week, but he hadn't figured out how to ask me to marry him. So it was all coincidence that it was 2 years to the day. He said to his parents, he was like, you have to like not come back to the cottage. We went to Dartmouth to visit family and stuff and spend some time in Halifax. And they were like, okay, like we'll like make a reason why we can't come back up. Like, you guys go just for the night, like make a nice dinner or whatever. So we were driving back up, and I basically like hijacked the proposal because he had planned, he was like, we're gonna make a nice dinner, I'm gonna get champagne, we're gonna go watch the sunset, and I'll like ask her to marry me looking at the sunset. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like 2 years to the day of our first date, we should get champagne. And he was like, okay. So I like got champagne. I was like, I'll go get it, you get the food. And I like ran away and like bought nice champagne for us for our 2-year anniversary. And then like came back, and then we were sitting there and he was like making this beautiful dinner, and I was like, oh, we should go watch the sunset with champagne. And he was like, okay. I'm not even having to work for this. So we like went to watch the sunset, and it was very cute. I'm the cheesiest person on the planet, so I say I love you like every time there's a reason to. I'm like, cheers, I love you. Good morning, I love you. Have a nice day, I love you. Like, it's just I constantly say it.
I love that.
But he knew I was gonna say I love you after I cheers to him, so he's like, I knew that was my go. So I said, I love you. And then he's like, I love you too. I really mean it. I was like, I really mean it too. He said, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I was like, babe, that's so sweet. And then he started getting kind of emotional, and I was like,
It's happening.
what's happening right now? And then yeah, he pulled out this ring, and it was beautiful. And I started screaming at him, and then I started screaming yes before he'd actually asked me to marry him. I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. And then he was like, wait, so is this, did you say yes? Is that what's happening? You said yes after he asked me. And then as he was putting the ring on, I was like, are you sure? You don't want to take it back? He was like, you're insane. Just put the ring on, please.
Oh my God.
And here we are.
That
And now we're
made,
getting
like, watching you talk about it made me emotional because I'm a big sap. And I was like, that's when I was just like, I don't know about the proposal. That's why I was like, that was my first question I wrote down when I was like, okay, I need to like figure out all the things that was like, and I wrote it in capital letters. And I was like, proposal.
I love that. It's kind of a hard one to start with, so I respect the trajectory.
The lead up, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Love Club.
Okay.
I have been like, I just sort of creeped IMDb to like sort of get a better feel for it. But you share what you can share because I know there are things that you probably can't.
Yeah. So it's a really fun movie series that we're doing. And I know that, so it's Chorus's first foray into original films. So Chorus is the company, for anybody in America watching, that has W Network, which is the women's network in Canada. And they basically buy or license all of the Hallmark Channel movies. So they have like an outstanding agreement, I'm assuming, between the networks. So whenever we're watching Hallmark movies, it's because W Network has them, which is Chorus. And so they wanted to take a chance at making their own original films. And there's this incredible woman, Tanya Linton, who runs a company here called Nikki Ray Media with her husband. And they do all of the shows on like HGTV and the Food Network. So they do Home Makeover, like a lot of unscripted reality style lifestyle shows. And she'd had this idea for years, and she kind of just finally decided, like, let's just do this. So she partnered with Chorus, and it's a film series that follows four friends. So they meet, well, they don't meet necessarily, but they have an interaction at the beginning, where you see them at a college party, and they sort of agree to become the Love Club to help each other through all of their love conundrums throughout their life. And then the first movie is my film. And my character's name is Nicole, but she goes by Nick. And she calls on the Love Club 10 years later to help her because she's going through a bit of a mess and doesn't know how to handle it. And then from there, it's the second film and the third film and the fourth film. And they sort of follow these women throughout a year of their life as they're in their 30s and dealing with what love looks like as they've gotten older, and sort of coming back together to be each other's champions, which is really cool. So each of us have a lead in the film. And then I'm like, for the second, third, and fourth film, I am the supportive best friend. And there's 3 supportive best friends in every film. So there's essentially 4 leads to every film, which is awesome. And Marcus Rosner plays my love interest in the first film, and he is so wonderful. I felt very, very lucky that of all the people they could have brought in for my film, that it was him. We had a really lovely time working together. And I'm hopeful we'll get a chance to work together again. But yeah, so it's fun. We're working on the 4th one right now. Going to set soon, and we're almost done. We're on our second last week. So next week is the last week of filming, and we had to shut down for COVID for a little bit. So the production was originally 54 days, and now it's 58. So 4 movies in 58 days. And
Sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it's been a lot, but I'm having the best time. And like, honestly, I've just had such a fun time getting to know the girls. And like one of the girls who's in the films, her name's Lily Gao. She's incredible. She's a force to be reckoned with as an actor. She's been a friend of mine for a handful of years now, and I feel really lucky that we had a chance to work together. And
that's so nice.
Yeah, it's been really cool. And like Chantel, who's in one of the films as well, she's amazing. Chantel Riley. She actually got her start playing Nala on Broadway. Like that was her start.
That's a start?
Career. She's
It's a
Like,
solid start.
I know, just casual,
No biggie, you know.
eating well on Broadway, no big deal. Just The Lion King, just like most iconic musical of all time. Fine, it's fine. Anyways, I'm in awe of them. So
That's amazing. Do we know roughly
that's
when
why I'm
it's
drinking a coffee the size of my face in this reusable cup that I have.
Yeah, I literally have this is coffee number 2 in my Like a Boss mug.
I need it cold so I can just like drink it really fast and then continue to refill it so that I'm just caffeinated all day.
It just never ends. Yeah, I go from coffee and then it's like I get home and then it's just switches to wine.
I mean, that's like the natural progression.
Yeah, just
Somewhere in there, you drink a glass of water, and then
yeah. When I'm teaching,
and then it's
water,
time.
and then it's wine.
Yeah, I get you. I'm here. I'm there for that. Yeah.
Do we have any idea roughly when the first movie is supposed to come out?
So I don't know anything yet. That said, I've heard rumblings that they're hopeful that it will be either the very end of this year or beginning of next year. So I think that's sort of the hopeful plan, but it's all just a matter of like when they can get all 4 films edited and finalized. And I'm not sure if they're waiting until they have US release in order. But as soon as I know, I'm just going to be like harassing the whole world with that information.
That's fine. I'll harass them
excited.
right next to you.
Excellent.
I'm gonna be your cheerleader.
Like I love
your
that.
personal cheerleader.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Do you have anything else on the horizon? Any other projects coming up, or are you?
Not at the moment. I do have one that I'm hopeful I'll be able to make in the States later this year or early next year. There's a project with Hallmark that I'm also hopeful will be happening in the new year. There's some pretty fun people that we're in talks with to play the leading males. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll have some fun things to share soon on that front. And I'm hopeful that I'll get a chance to do another Hallmark movie before the end of the year. I know we've been trying to sort of figure out some dates that could work, but both with my wedding and this project and a couple of other family things that I need to do before wedding. It's been challenging to find dates that work because a lot's shooting sort of like between now and September, which is when I'm getting married. So there's some challenging like dates, but I'm really hopeful that we can find something to work around that. Or, you know, if there's something that comes after the wedding, then I'm free as a bird. Anybody wants to hire me or something. But yeah, so right now it's just a matter of sort of juggling and figuring out. And I know there's some stuff in talks and in the works and stuff. So hopefully I'll have some more things to share soon. But I also have a Christmas movie that aired in Canada last year that's airing in the States this year. So that's fun.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I believe that you have like just this epic, wonderful career ahead of you. I'm so excited for you. You are just such a light. Of course I am.
Correct.
Of course I'm right.
We were going to be friends. So yeah, what you say goes. What you say goes. It's
That's
good.
Right. That's right. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am so excited that we connected.
Me too.
And I just feel like there are like people that you're just like supposed to meet in life, and I can't fully explain it, but I feel like this is one of them. And funny story, I'm actually writing my own movie based on me. I've been working on it for like 6 months already because I keep changing it, and eventually I'm going to try and like sell it.
That's incredible.
And in my mind, I was like, if I at all could ever get this picked up by either like Chorus or Hallmark or whatever, you have to play me.
Done.
I wouldn't want anybody. I'm like, this
right now.
This is the condition that comes with this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's nobody else I would.
Well, if you ever want anyone to read it, send it my way.
I will. Maybe I'll bring
to help.
Like maybe I'll bring what I have done thus far, because I keep changing it like over and over.
That's fair. I think that happens with scripts, especially when you're writing them and they're like one of the first ones, because you get so nervous. But then one thing, if I have any advice for people who are writing, as a person who's witnessed so many scripts go from like here to here, is that if it goes to a network, the network will change things because they have to make it fit within their space, and there's going to be notes from producers and stuff like that. So I always think there's sort of this beautiful space of being like 90% finished with a script. Like be really happy with it, but be like, there's maybe some things I want to change, but I don't know. So I'm just going to like send it out into the universe now. Because if somebody comes back and says that they want to change something, maybe I have some other ideas, or maybe once it's gone, I'll be like, oh, I wish I'd done that. Like that you can sort of still play with. So don't ever worry about being 100% on it, because there are little things that will change up until the minute it's done being made. Like literally we're getting script changes. Like we got a script change like yesterday. So these things are just like constantly evolving. And I think, yeah, part of it is just, I think so much with script writing, unfortunately, is just being able to go, okay, I've done it, and letting it go. It lives over there now. But I'm in.
Yeah, that's why I was like, it's going to be conditional.
I'm agreeing right now. We can take it together.
And I mean, whenever I post this,
I'm going to be in this.
It's now like public knowledge that this is a verbal contract.
I love this idea.
But maybe, yeah, it's like maybe I'll sneak you a little bit of the script, or I'll bring it with you whenever we can figure out for me to come and visit you in Toronto and get drinks and do all the things and just have a girls' day.
I really like that idea.
Me too. Well, I'll let you, because I know you have a busy day ahead of you.
Yeah, I have to go do that work stuff.
Yeah, you know, like making movies, and it's just
I sigh like I'm sad, but I'm like I'm like, I get to go to work.
It's a real nerd over here. I'm very excited for you, and I can't wait to hear more about anything that's upcoming and your beautiful wedding coming up. And you're just such a beautiful human.
Thank you. You are too.
Thank you. And premiere Head Over Heels podcast, I just felt like if we had to kick it off.
I just want to be like a regular guest, okay?
That's cool. Whenever you're like, I got an hour, you up? I'll be like, yeah.
Well, hey, you up?
You up? And I have my TikTok decided to skyrocket a little bit. So I have like 51,000 TikTok followers.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I don't understand TikTok. And my phone signed me out of TikTok because I had it at the beginning of the pandemic because I tried to do like one dance. Didn't do very good. And then I remember sitting here one day and I was like, I want to see one of these TikTok. And I like literally had to like go in and reset everything and like refigure out how to be on TikTok. And then I proceeded to watch every single one of your videos, like an absolute stalker. And then I just realized now that I don't actually think I even followed you. I just watched all of them because I literally have like one follower on TikTok, but I'm going to go on and follow you because I
can be TikTok, your number 2 follower.
And every time I open my TikTok, it's just going to be you now.
I mean, I'm fine.
I like that for me a lot. So
that's so funny.
I'm like, phone out, gonna do it now. I just have to find TikTok. I literally am 900 years old. It's fine.
It's fine. Cool. When we'll make a TikTok.
I love that idea because I genuinely don't know how.
Yeah, I will teach you when I see you. We'll do one because I feel like I have so many Hallmark fans on my TikTok that they would freak out if we did a TikTok.
Okay, let's do that because like I'm so confused.
Done.
I'm 900. I have my crochet beside me because I crochet instead of doing TikTok because I don't understand how to do TikTok and I want to do TikTok, but I don't know how.
I'll do TikTok 101 with you when I'm. All right, go chug your coffee.
Okay, thank you. I will.
And have an amazing day on set. And this was so lovely. Thank you for squeezing me into your very busy schedule.
Gosh, I had to.
And I'm so grateful for you. And I'm going to be harassing you on Instagram for us to set up a time in the next like 4 to 6 whatever weeks for me to come and visit you. And we'll do a girls' day. I'll bring my camera.
I love that idea so much.
We'll do it up.
And we'll drink wine.
Yes, so much wine. Coffee and then wine.
Coffee, photos, wine.
Coffee. I like it.
Yeah, TikTok 101. It's going to be great. This is an excellent day.
I'm ready.
Okay, have
All
the best
right.
day.
Thank you.
Bye.